Hi, and welcome back, Attorney Steve Vondran. Welcome to another exciting episode of Vondran Legal Hour. Attorney Steve Vondran, licensed practice law in California and Arizona. This is general legal information only and not legal advice or a substitute for legal advice. All right, so we're talking in this podcast about Federal Trade Commission. It's actually a video, I shouldn't say. I may also use it for my podcast channel, but we are talking about the FTC, that stands for Federal Trade Commission, and they are located in Washington, D.C. If you ever go out there and travel, you can see the Capitol and the White House and cruise around and see the FTC. So the role of the FTC really is, as it says here, protecting America's consumers. You know, a lot of false advertising. They want substantial evidence of advertising claims, this, that, and the other. But recently, I should say recently, this is back in 2011, they got into the privacy game. The privacy, not piracy. But this is November 29, 2011. This is a consent decree with Facebook, okay? So I'm just going to show you a little bit about this, and then I'm going to talk about the current issue with Facebook violating this consent decree. Can you believe it? Facebook violating this consent decree and possibly facing the largest fine the FTC has ever levied for essentially breaching a consent decree with the FTC. Now, I think the last highest, I think, was $22 billion, I think it was, with Google. So Facebook probably wanting to break that record just to be the breaker of all records. But this deals with keeping privacy promises. So what's at issue right now? And let's just read this top part here for you real quick. Let's see if I can get this read for you or not. But this part deals with the social networking service Facebook has agreed to settle, this is 2011, keep in mind, settle Federal Trade Commission charges that it deceived consumers by telling them they could keep their information on Facebook private. Everybody's always debating, is it private? Are we on Facebook? Is it private? I think most right-minded people know it's not. If you're on Facebook, it's not private. But there is this, I think, sense of privacy that people think they have, at any rate. And then repeatedly allowing it to be shared and made public. The proposed settlement requires Facebook to take several steps to make sure it lives up to its promises in the future, including giving consumers clear and prominent notice and obtaining consumers' express consent before their information is shared beyond the privacy settings that they have established, okay? So you can go into the app and you can set your privacy establishments. If it goes beyond that, then Facebook is being bad stewards of information. So the FTC's 8-count complaint against Facebook is part of the agency's ongoing effort to make sure companies live up to the privacy promises. Live up to your promises they make to American consumers. It charges that the claims that Facebook made were unfair and deceptive and violated federal law. So there was obviously this big dispute about privacy in 2011. Facebook came to terms and they said, okay, well, we're fine with that. And they issued this little statement here. Facebook is obligated to keep the promises about privacy that it makes to hundreds of millions of users, said Joe Leibowitz, chairman of the FTC. Now, strike that. This is the chairman of the FTC saying that. Facebook's innovation does not have to come at the expense of consumer privacy. The FTC action will ensure it will not. The FTC complaint lists a number of instances in which Facebook allegedly made promises that it did not keep. Here's a list of them. You can go ahead and look at them if you want. You can pause the video and take a look at them. At any rate, there was a dispute over the privacy practices, and I'm going to let you read that if you want to read it. The proposed settlement, as we see, there was a settlement here, and I'm going to cruise down just a little bit further here. And let's see if we can go down. So that was it. Basically, the commission issues an administrative complaint when it has reason to believe that the law has been or is being violated, and it appears to the commission that a proceeding is in the public interest. The complaint is not a finding or ruling that respondent has actually violated the law. A consent agreement is for settlement purposes only and does not constitute an admission. Okay, so what's going on now is we had this consent decree, and now with Facebook, what's going on is, from my understanding of reviewing things here, this is my opinion, is that there was a application on Facebook that you could download, a Cambridge Analytica app, and you could download it and I suppose answer some questions. But what happened, it would give you access, it would give Cambridge Analytica access to your users, your friends, and some certain data fields from your friends. So in other words, there were about 200 and something thousand people that downloaded this application, and it would, from what I understand, on average, a person has 300 friends. It would allow them to have access to your data, your friends' data, so that they could try to identify certain voters who may be persuaded one way or the other, maybe to vote for Trump or whatnot. But at any rate, this was something that they are now alleging FTC is violating the consent decree, not something they were supposed to be doing. And now there is a big to-do about this. Will the FTC step into the up into the ring, into the boxing ring? Will they demand a fine? And from what I understand of the fines, up to $41,000 per incident. There must have been a ton of incidents because this looks to be the biggest fine of all time. So there's a big showdown whether or not the FTC is going to have that power to enforce Facebook, to if for all lack of a better word, play fair, to be open and honest about what they're doing. But remember, Facebook is free. So part of the way Facebook makes money is harvesting data. And I don't know if harvest is a good word, but they gather data and access to data. So in an information society, that data, that information is very, very valuable. Information about you and me and other people, how we vote, what we like, those things are being sold to marketers. And again, I'm not saying by Facebook, but I'm just saying in general, these are the things that are going on. And people are trying to essentially gather more information about individuals in our society. So that's what privacy is all about. And I was many years ago, I was a privacy advocate for one of the credit bureaus, Experian. And I learned a lot in that job, but one thing I really learned is that privacy is not really such a big thing that you actually have. There's more of an illusion of privacy than the privacy that you really have. And again, that's my personal opinion, but I used to track all the privacy bills. Most of them never came to any fruition. And privacy, I think we see every day. It's creeping in on us. Surveillance cameras, drones taking photos, little apps that are collecting data, cookies that are collecting data. So this is going to be an interesting fight to watch. We're going to see what the FTC does. We're going to see if Facebook ends up paying money to settle for breaching its promise under this consent decree. This is going to be a really interesting area and a topic in social media law that we're going to cover here at Vondran Legal, the first name in legal services. So I just wanted to bring you that breaking IP news. Social media law lets you do what you want with it. Again, general legal information only. And if you like this video, share it. If you're worried about your privacy, being online is probably not the place for you. I'm going to just tell you that in advance. So if you need help with a social media legal issue, internet law, intellectual property, entertainment law, you know where to find us. On the web at attorneysteve.com. That's attorneysteve.com, the first name in legal services. I got to run. I got a little more work to do tonight, but we will check back with you and hope you're having a great day and a great week. Bye now.